Coop, do you kind of want to round us out with like how we could deal with that anticlimax and like doing a structured self-assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I do a lot in the Olympic space where they spend 4 years working towards a goal and then everybody else is asking what's next, but they all start asking what now? I think that's the challenge is like you've got all this energy, you've got all of this structure, so many things have led to this, and suddenly it feels like it's kind of gone, especially for the ones who are retiring post-Olympics. Like there is truly a vacuum, and nature hates vacuums. So things get filled, right? And a lot of times we end up using not so healthy coping strategies in this space to try to avoid the really strong emotions of, wow, what now? What next? And we do a post-Olympic blues workshop about 6 weeks out, which in talking to Alan and Caroline, it sounds like that's about the same timeline as this anti-climax feeling coming off the mountain. About 6 weeks, it wears off, you're a little bit back to life, and you go, okay, what now? A big part of this is finding community, finding people who understand not only what it felt like to stand on that summit, or not only what it felt like to have a non-summit, but also what it feels like today in this moment to not know what to do with all this energy and all this training that you've done. Creating that really important communal space can be a huge aspect of wellness throughout this and finding some belonging. So we have some psychological safety in what we're experiencing. And then when I do individual sessions with athletes, we will go through a series of reflections and questions, and this is an interesting one. Some people hate it. We usually get somewhere. We'll go through the question and the prompts of like, what are the masks that I'm wearing? What are the armors? What is keeping me from engaging in my life in a way that is a little bit more vulnerable versus this kind of like big, strong athlete, mountaineer that had to get to the top of this mountain. You have to put on a little bit of that mask to be able to do that. And how do we start to take it off and what's underneath? Particularly when athletes are in a space where they didn't meet the goal, or, in this case, didn't get to the summit. What roles did I play in this? Like, let's have a really solid reflection on what roles do I play? What illusions do I believe about myself? Like, what happened out there? What was in my control? What was out of my control? Who played a part? Who am I blaming? What shame am I feeling? And then what are the stories that I'm telling myself? Because we get really attached to narratives around these things, especially when it becomes part of our identity. And sometimes those stories become our story, and sometimes they're helpful and sometimes they're not. So really debriefing on like, what are the stories I'm telling myself right now? So we can start to pull away all of the noise and get down to who you are. Before you put the mountaineer label on yourself, like this person, so you can get down to what is next, what is now, and understand your value in the world without this huge achievement-oriented thing. Those people that you set those goals with and that you talked to and you had challenges with in your family and your people, they're still going to be your people. But sometimes it's hard to remember that. So I think going through kind of this ongoing reflexive process and doing a structured debrief can be super helpful in this space to come back to a place of understanding who you are in this moment with this new experience and how to move forward.